Today's our last day of Sinatra. Pretty soon we're going to be moving on to Rails tomorrow, and Josh is going to teach that to you tomorrow morning at 9:30. But the most important thing that I wanted to cover from Sinatra is this concept of something called CRUD, C-R-U-D. CRUD stands for create, read, update, and either delete or destroy. You get the idea. And this is the idea that every single app that you use is a CRUD app. You can create resources, like you can create yourself as a user, you can create new orders, you can create shopping carts, you can read those shopping carts, you can update those shopping carts, and you can delete those shopping carts. So CRUD is create, read, update, and delete. Twitter is a CRUD app because I can create, read, update, and destroy tweets. Actually, I don't think you can update tweets, but you can do at least 3 out of the 4. Instagram is a CRUD app. I can create, read, update, and destroy pictures. I can create, read, update, and destroy my comments. Amazon is a CRUD app because I can create orders and shopping carts and things like that, wish lists and things of that nature. It's such a part of our everyday. It's such an everyday part of our lives that we just kind of take it for granted. I'm actually going to challenge you. Think of a single web app that you use that is not a CRUD app. And I would say it's fairly difficult to do so, right? Like it's like maybe Netflix, but you can still create, read, update, and destroy. You can still create, read, update, destroy like videos or something like that. But CodePlatoon's not an app though.
Oh, okay.
Like CodePlatoon is a website. Like you go there and there's a whole bunch of data that's on there. But yeah, I challenge you just throughout the day. I haven't heard a good one yet. If you can think of an app that you use that is not a CRUD app, I would be very, very surprised.
Angry Birds.
Angry Birds is not an app, it's a game. But even then, I can create, read, update, destroy my scores and everything like that. So there's still CRUD app in almost everything that we do has CRUD in it. I'm just saying, like, that's how much it's proliferated. All right. So again, everything that you're seeing here today comes directly from the curriculum. And I've downloaded something called Bestiary. Bestiary, it's not bestiary. Bestiary is essentially just an encyclopedia of mythical creatures. That's all it is. It's an encyclopedia of mythical creatures. When I first saw Bestiary, I saw Bestiary, and then I immediately thought bestiality because my mind goes there. But no, Bestiary, encyclopedia of mythical creatures. So it's all it is. It's just you can think of it as a book of entries. Let's take a look at all the code that we have. Like I said, everything is going to, we're starting with one file during week 1. We went to some extra spec files and things of that nature. Then we had views folders and everything like that. We're building up to the final thing, which is Rails. This is kind of like our in-between. So we have an entire folder for controllers, an entire folder for the database, an entire folder for the models, entire folder for the spec, and for the views. These 5 folders contain all the code that is going to make up our Sinatra app. All the controllers go inside of the controllers here. All of the database stuff goes inside of the DB folder. All the models that we're talking about will go inside the models folder. The test files that we have will go inside of spec, and all the views will go inside of views. So just to get us started, our Sinatra application defines a class called Bestiary, which is going to inherit from Sinatra base. Sinatra calls this a modular style. So we're going to nest all of our routes inside of this Bestiary class just as a way to stay organized. I feel like this is just know that this is how Sinatra will do it. So inside of @animals controller, all of your routes are going to go in there. But eventually when you get to Rails tomorrow, there's a separate Rails folder for all of you, Rails file for all of your routes. We have a brand new controllers directory, which is something that we haven't really dealt with before. When we deal with CRUD apps, we organize all of our code so that all of the routes related to one particular model goes inside of one particular controller file. If you notice, we just have that same get/animals inside of this class Bestiary, which is located within the animals controller. We're just moving it from one place, which was one central location inside of app.rb, inside of small controllers at this particular point. This large little, there's there's code to be, well, I'll just go line by line, but you don't need to know this. Line number 1 requires Sinatra, brings in the Sinatra library. Number 2, Sinatra active record. There is an active record Sinatra gem that we're going to be bringing inside of here. We're setting our database. The adapter is going to be SQLite 3. So remember, there are different flavors of SQL. What that means is like SQL is the mechanism, the language that we use to query a database. So if I ask for the first record, I'm going to be using SQL. But there's many different adapters that you could use. So there's SQLite, there's Postgres, there's MySQL, there's Oracle, there's some sort of Windows SQL as well. This is just the one that's easiest for us, SQLite, because it's just one giant file that holds everything inside of there. And the database name is called bestiary.sqlite3. Class bestiary, inheriting from Sinatra base. We're registering Sinatra active record extension to activate line number 2. And then these 2 lines basically say that once you load the app, every single model will require every other model. Every single controller will require every other controller, so you don't have to do that require relative at the top of every single file. All right, so I'm just going to get us started, and we're going to run through a lot of tests today. But the idea is that we want to be able to create, read, update, and destroy animals. In our case today, it's just going to be a bunch of animals.
That's all right.
Sure. First things first, I'm going to bundle install. You want to get in this habit of just doing bundle install right off the bat. When we get into things like Node and with React and things like that, it's the same thing. We're going to run npm install immediately. We're going to install all the packages that we need, all of those packages, and all of the libraries that we have are here inside of the gem file. You'll see that there were a few, most of them I had already, but some of them I needed to install, like RSpec 3.7. So this one is green rather than the usual black. So after I run bundle install, I'm going to do bundle exec rake db drop. And this is just going to drop the database to make sure that I don't have anything blowing up at this particular point. I'm going to drop it, create an empty database called bestiary.sqlite3. I'm going to migrate everything over. So now my particular database has a bunch of animals inside of it. Now when we look, like I want to know what my database looks like. So how do which folder do I go to see the DB folder? I mean, which folder do I go to see all of my migrations? The DB folder. And this is why we name our things in a specific way. Where do we go from here? Migrate. We take a look at the create animals file. Now, this weird looking thing of numbers is literally just a timestamp. It goes year, month, date, and then the time. So we have 2017, January 26th at 1:21 p.m. or something along those lines. This is just a timestamp so that you know exactly when things were created. Because if I create another migration after this, I know I run the earlier one and then I run the later one. So all I've got is a file called create animals. And I'm just going to create a table called animals, and it has 2 columns. One of them is the name. It's just going to be a text. And another one is just going to be description. It's a very simple database that I've got here. Inside of seeds, I'm going to create a whole bunch of animals. Dog, cat, turtle, horse, narwhal, all of these. I'm just going to put a bunch of stuff inside of my database. So I'm going to run bundle exec rake db seed. All right, so now I've bundle installed everything, dropped, created, migrated, and seeded the database, and now I'm getting ready to get started to make this into a CRUD app. We're going to do this using test-driven development. So let's take a look at the tests that we have. Which folder has all of the tests in it? Spec. We go to spec, go to controllers, animal controller spec, and we have a bunch of things just to get us started. This process is going to feel a little bit weird for a while, but because we're writing our tests first, we're only going to write code that's actually necessary for our app to function. So let's start with the get new. So we want to start with the C. I want to create things. So I'm describing get new, and I'm just going to copy and paste the code that I have from the curriculum. So indent. So whenever anybody makes a request to get /animals/new, I want there to be a form on the page that says create a new animal. Fairly simple. We're following the given when then. I don't need anything I don't need to do anything to visit this particular URL. So I don't have a given. The when is the execution of the code, what's actually being run. So I'm making a get request to /animals/new. And then I expect the last response, once I've made that request, to include create a new animal. The quick sidebar, this is called RESTful routing. So there's a convention when you go online called RESTful routing. I'm going to grab that URL really quick and put it up here. So I put this inside of your curriculum, but I can send it out again. But the way that the URIs work at the end of most modern day websites is you want to follow a RESTful pattern. And the RESTful pattern means like I don't know what REST stands for actually. Josh, do you remember?
No, but I'm gonna look it up right
now. Okay. But it's a way that you structure things so that there's a feeling of continuity across the internet. Josh, go ahead.
Representational state transfer.
Okay. I don't know what that means. Essentially what it means is, like, if I have a bunch of products, and if I go to Amazon.com, and I want to see all their products, essentially, if it was set up this way, I would go to Amazon.com/products. That makes sense because it's more than one. It has the S at the end, and I can see all of the products. On a very simple note, let's say like I have a website for all these dogs. If I were to go to make a request to /dogs, I would get all of the dogs on one particular page. If I wanted to go to see a new dog, I would go to /dogs/new to see the form to create a new dog. If I wanted to see like dog number 4, it would be /dogs/4, and then so on and so forth. I'll let you guys peruse this at your leisure, but REST essentially means like I'm going to have more than one thing. So if I go to like, if it was like twitter.com/users/1, so that'd be user number 1/tweets. That'd be user number 1's tweets. That's the way that we're trying to set it up. So there's a feeling of continuity across the internet. Otherwise, you'd have no standard whatsoever. So we created a quick form. We created the test for a form. So whenever we make a get request to /animal/new, I expect that form to have the words create a new animal on there. Obviously, when I run this test running bundle exec or BE, if you don't have BE as an alias, I would recommend doing that. And the way that I'm going to do that is just type in bash or like subl tilde bash profile or whatever text editor you want, and adding an alias over here. So I have all of this stuff, all of these aliases, because I don't want to type things over and over again. BE is one of those things, because I don't like typing bundle exec over and over. I just want to type in BE and be done with it. So I'm going to run bundle exec rspec. By default, Sinatra is going to look for a spec folder and run all of the specs inside of that folder. That's why I don't need to say anything else. I just do bundle exec rspec and it runs everything. So this blows up, and we're just going to do kind of like error-driven development, I suppose. So obviously, whenever you visit /animal/new, it blows up because, how do I split the screen in two? Because the controller doesn't have app.rb. The controller does not have the route /animal/new. Where do I find all of the routes? Again, the question was, where do I find all of the routes for this particular application?
Controllers.
Controllers, animals controller. Right now, I only have one route. That makes perfect sense why this is blowing up. So I'm going to say, I'm going to make a new route. So get, whenever anyone makes a request to /animals/new, I'm going to load up the ERB file, the animals folder, new. Now, when we take a look here on the left-hand side, we have a views folder. Inside the views folder, there's an animals folder. I'm going to create a new file really quick. It's going to be called new.erb. We're going to load that up over here. All right. In order to make this test pass, I'm just going to have a quick H1 that says create a new animal. Again, I wrote the test first to basically ensure that that the code that I write is going to pass. Whenever anybody makes a GET request to /animals/new, I load up the ERB file, animals folder, and then the new file underneath it. So I go under views, animals folder, and the new right over here. It says create a new animal, run the tests. And now we have a passing test. One example, 0 failures rather than one example, 1 failure. It's not a very good page right now. It doesn't include our form. So I'm just going to write a few extra tests. So whenever anybody makes a GET request to /animals/new, I have 3 tests. 1, I expect to see the words create a new animal. I expect to see the word description, and I expect to see the word name. Run the tests. Tests are going to obviously blow up because I don't have that here on this side. And I'm just going to copy and paste directly over from the curriculum. I have a form. It's going to post to /animals. I have 3 divs on the page. One of them is just an area for me to type in the animal name, type in the description, and then press create. We run the test. It's going to pass. We're going to load up a second window. Bundle exec shotgun. We don't need to type in app.rb anymore. It automatically knows to look for us. And I'm going to 9393. Let's take a look. Localhost 9393. All right, Sinatra doesn't know this ditty. Okay. It looks like there is an animals/new. All right, so maybe I'll make a GET request to /animals/new. All right, so I've created a new animal. I have something for the name. I'll create a hamster, and they run at night. When I press create, at this point, I haven't written any code, so it blows up. But you can kind of see, like, we're just writing the tests and then writing the code to make it pass. This is what it looks like. So we're just going to keep going. So we have, if you take a look under the C for create, we want to see the form. And then once we post to this URL, we want to actually create that animal inside of the database. You can kind of see that this particular form has a post method going to /animals, but under the controller, we don't have a post for /animals. That's going to come next. I'm going to write the test first, and I'm just going to copy it over. We got 2 tests. 1, whenever anybody makes a post request to the, whenever anyone makes a post to /animals, I expect it to create a new animal record. So I've got the given, when, and then the then. given, I have to set up things because I'm not actually visiting the page and clicking through buttons. So I've created a params hash. This hash has 2 keys inside of it, the name and the description. Name is doggy, and this is the description that we've got here. This is what we need in order to set up the test. That's the given. The when is the code that's actually being executed. And you may notice that we got curly brackets instead of parentheses. The curly brackets mean that I'm actually going to execute this code inside of here. So expect, curly brackets mean I'm going to execute. When you post to animals with these parameters above, you're going to change the animals count in the entire database by 1. So animal.count, if I go to bundle exec rake console, I have 8 animals inside of the database based off of the seed file found right here. I have 8 animals that I've created. When I make a post request to /animals with these parameters, it's going to change the number of animals that are in the database by 1. That's basically what I'm checking here. Second one, it's going to redirect to view that particular animal. So again, given, when, then. Given is what I need to do to set up. When, this is the stuff that I need to, like the code that's actually executing. And then the then, this is what I expect, this is the result. So when you post to /animals with these parameters, and this is another test, these are 2 separate tests. When I post to /animals with parameters, the last response status should equal 302. Remember, 200 is yes, I'd like to go on a date with you. 300's like talk to Ed. 400 is no, like try again if it's something you did was wrong, and then 500 is something's wrong with me. So I expect it to redirect, and I expect the location of the redirect to include /animals / that new animal found here on line 36.id. So I'm going to exit real quick out of the bottom. I got 4 windows. These 2 are the text editor. These 2 are the terminal windows. This one's just running the server in the background. I'll move this way over because I don't need it. I'm just going to run bundle exec rspec, watch these 2 blow up. Obviously, we get 2 failures because we haven't written the code yet. So under the post, whenever anyone makes a post to /animals, I'm going to create a new animal with the parameters that they gave me, and I'm going to save it into the database. Very simple. Bundle exec rspec, 3 examples, 2 failures, memorize that. Now we got 3 examples, still 2 failures. Let's see, it says there's an unknown attribute captures for an animal. Let's put a binding prime and see what params looks like. We take a look at params. It looks like there is name, description, and then captures. I'm not sure what this captures is, but it looks like I can't actually create this record because it has this weird extra thing inside of there. Not to worry, all we got to do is do name with params of name. And then description with params description. Let's exit bang. Get rid of this pry. 3 examples, 2 failures. If this works, we'll see 3 examples and 1 failure. 3 examples, 1 failure. So it looks like if it blows up, I expected a 302, I expected it to redirect, but instead I got a 200 because I didn't write that code yet. I'm going to redirect to /animals /animal.id. Again, let's see this in actual action. So I'm going here to /animals/new. I'm going to create an animal. It's going to have a hamster run at night. I hit this create button. When I hit the create button, it creates a new animal inside the database, and it redirects me to /animals/11. So it actually saved it into the database because remember we only have 8 so far, so we're creating new ones every single time that we run the specs. So it is actually, if I run into bundle exec rake console, I go animal.last to get the last record of animal. you can kind of see there's that hamster, and they run at night. This is that thing that we just created. So we just did one set of tests for the create. So now we're able to see the form. We're able to submit the form and actually create the actual animal. I'm going to pause because I feel like I've lost like half the people.
You lost me at required Sinatra.
I see.
The only thing that didn't make sense was that captures. Why did that throw an error?
Where did it come from?
Yeah.
The captures.
Was that
It's given to you. It's given to you from the. I have no idea what the answer is.
But is that part of animals, like captures, like animals captured, or is that something that has
Nope.
to do with Sinatra?
It's a Sinatra thing. It's somewhere inside this form. There's an extra thing that Sinatra's throwing in called captures. So I just decided, you know what? Because you're usually able to just pass in all of the parameters from the form if they match up perfectly to the columns of your database. And since I wasn't able to do that, I just hard coded it like this. But it is something from this form that Sinatra is giving to you for free. This will make more sense once you actually start doing it. So we just did the C. We're able to create records. As of right now, you can kind of see I have /animals. This is the index page. I have all of the animals that we see here. When I go to animals/new, I get the form. Now I'm going to do the R, the R, which is read. So we're able to create things, but we're not able to read anything quite yet. So under this get index, I expect to see like all of the, so remember, it's CRUD stands for create, read, update, and destroy. So I should be able to create things, which I tested. I should be able to read things as well. I should be able to read all of my animals and one individual animal, which is why I have a get index that's for all of them, and then the get show for one individual record. So I'm going to do get show just to get us started. Move all of this over. Okay. So I've got a quick test. It says get show. Whenever anybody wants to see an individual animal, it shows details about that particular animal. So I have a given, when, and then. Given, I actually need to create the animal first inside of the database. And I need to save it to this particular animal local variable. I'm going to make a GET request. This is the when, the code that's actually being executed. /animals to this particular animal ID. And then I expect, this is the then. This is what I expect at the end. I expect to see somewhere on the board, on the page, dog and Fluffy barks generally quite cuddly. Run the tests. Everything's going to blow up. So we have a failure, and then 4 examples. Obviously, we haven't written the code quite yet, so I'm just going to copy and paste this over and see what we get. So I've added another route here, get/animals/ID. Whenever anybody makes a request to /animals/ID, I'm going to find that animal inside the database and then save that to the local variable animal. Then I'm going to load up the ERB file, animals, under the animals folder. Where is that? Views, animals. I'm going to load up a file called show. And inside that show, there are local variables that I need, probably animal. Fairly simple. I'm just going to add a new file called show.erb. I'm going to just put in h1 of animal name and animal.description. Again, anytime that anyone makes a GET request to /animal/ID, find that animal in the database, load them up in the show file, and then I'm going to interpolate that onto the screen. These tests are going to pass at this point. And if you take a look over here, I'm going to create a new animal. Anybody have a favorite pet? Maybe an exotic pet? Kangaroo. Kangaroo, and They box humans. Create. I create a new animal, and then you can kind of, now you're able to see that actual kangaroo. Kangaroo, and they box humans. When I go to just /animals, at this point now I have a list of all of the possible animals that I have. And if you look at the very bottom, I got that kangaroo that I was talking about. I can click this, and it'll take me to that individual page, /animals/18. This 18 matches up with the database record that they're in. Just for fun, and to wake people up a little bit, I really like this one video of kangaroo boxing human.
Where the guy punches him.
I cannot. I love this video. I don't know why. I just find it hilarious.
But all is not as it seems. The big buck actually has hold of the dog, not the other way around. As Greg runs in, we realise this could get dangerous. Let it go, dogs. Let's go.
Dude, look how small this kangaroo is. He's gonna beat him up. But I just find this hilarious. Okay, let's watch that again.
It's slow.
I just find this hilarious.
Let it go, dogs.
And that is all. All right. So you got kangaroos and they box humans. There's another really cute video where there's like a baby kangaroo that thinks this one dude is his mom. So he just follows him around, like just hops after him at all points. I will send all of these kangaroo videos out. That is a good choice, Ed. I do like kangaroos. So now we're able to read one individual record. We're going to show all of the records. I'm going to grab this over from here and just copy and paste. Picks up some of the spacing. Picks up this spacing. So I've got a pretty basic test here. It's for get index. So I'm going to see all of the animals. So it shows a list of all the animals. I'm going to create two animals. One's a cat and one's a dog. Dog and cat. This is the given. This is what I need to do in order to set up the test. I'm going to make a get request to /animals, and I expect to see the words dog and cat show up on the page. On top of that, I expect to see a link to each and every individual animal. So again, given, when, then. Given, what do I need to do in order to set up the test? So I'm going to create another dog just to make sure that it works 100% in this particular test. I'm making a get request to /animals, and I expect to include the /animals / this particular animal's ID. Run the tests. Everything should pass at this point. And everything looks good. The reason that this one works is because whenever we make a get request to /animals, we load up all the animals inside this local variable called animals, and then we show the user this particular view page. Under the views, there's a folder called animals. There's a page called index. Index looks like it's going to use a variable called animals. So if you take a look here, we have animals in H1. That's what we see over here. And we're iterating over each individual animal and creating a list with a link to that particular animal's ID. And what shows up on the page is that animal's name. I could change this just to make sure that this is working. Boop. And now all of the animals are poop. Maybe we will, let's add one little thing at the very bottom, at the very top. I'm just going to add this real quick. There is, and add a test for it because that's what I'm supposed to be doing. So I have another test. It shows a link to create new animals. I don't need to do anything to set it up, so there's no given. The when is this code being executed right here on line 27. I'm making a get request to /animals. This is what I expect to see. I expect to see the words create a new animal on the page, and there to be this particular link to /animals/new on here. I add it onto this point, run the tests. Those will pass. When I refresh this page, all I see at the very top is each individual animal and then the create a new animal link. So we've done C and we've done R. So we're able to read all the animals, read each individual animal. We can create new animals. Do another animal. Give me another name.
Conure.
Spell that.
C-O-N-U-R-E.
Conure?
Yeah, it's like a parrot.
It's a parrot. Okay. Cool. Create this conure. It'll redirect me after it creates it, and then we can see there's that name and there's the description. When I go back to the main index page, I can scroll all the way down to the bottom, and there's that conure right there at the bottom waiting for us. So we've done C and R, and the U and the D is much faster. So let's jump down to U, which is update, and D, delete or destroy. It's up to you. In order to update, we need to be able to get to a form to be able to update things, right? Like if you want to update your address on Amazon.com, right? It's like edit my address, and then there's a form already filled out for you. We're gonna learn how to do that right here. So whenever anybody goes to the /edit page for a particular animal, oops, it's going to load the information from the existing record. Given, when, then. Given, I'm going to create a dog really quick. I'm going to make a GET request to that particular dog's URL /edit. The /edit is I'm going to actually edit this particular dog. I expect somewhere on the screen for the words edit animal, the dog's name, and the dog's description found on line 79 to be there. Run the tests. 7 examples, 0 failures. This will be 8 examples and 1 failure. And we're just kind of going one by one. Write the tests, write the route, write the view. Write the tests, write the route, get /animals /ID /edit. First things first, I'm going to find the animal in the database. And then I'm going to load up.
And when you do the find, that's only by ID.
Yep, the find is only by the ID. So this one by default is going to be ID. If you want to find them by the name, you do find by, and then name, and then params name or something. But find only goes by the ID number.
Okay.
So whenever, again, anytime anyone makes a GET request to /animals /ID /edit, I find that animal in the database. Then I load up under views, there's going to be a new thing called edit, and I will just create it right now. Edit.erb. It's empty for right now, but I'm just going to put this in there. Should look fairly familiar. I got edit animal, I got a post here, I have the animal's name going to be interpolated, and the animal's description as well. Run the test one more time. Everything passes. If I go to this starfish's edit page, /edit, edit animal, name starfish, and description ***. So I've interpolated based off of the record that I found inside the database. I've taken that information and shoved it inside of name and inside of description. But this kind of sucks right now because I have to know to type /edit, so I'm just going to add it to this particular page. So I'm on animals /7. Which route is that on this page?
ID.
the ID one on line 11. So which ERB file should I be opening up to change to have that link to /edit?
Show.
So I have the name and I have the description. I'm just going to add a little quick thing on the bottom that says edit this animal. Cool. I'm going to add one test to the show. Where's the individual show? Run the test one more time. Everything should pass. Refresh this page. At the very bottom of the page, there's a little edit button that shows up right here. Oh, in huge letters, edit this animal. So that I don't have to know to type in /edit. I can just go here, click this, and I get edit animal for that particular starfish.
Is there always a functionality that it would just automatically have a pre-filled out for you? That's just what it's supposed to do.
I mean, how pissed would you be if you went to like a website and it wasn't there for you, right? So it's just basically like, what would you want to see? It's like, yeah, it should be like that. We've all been on those government websites where you fill out your information for 4 days and then you press submit, and if something goes wrong, you press back and it's gone. Yeah. What if you didn't have to do that, right? What if you kept track of all that? When they hit back, it's already there for you. And those are like those small things that make your website stand out a little bit more. And honestly, people expect that at this point. You just get pissed if it's not there. All right. So we're able to edit this animal. We're able to see this form, but we're not actually able to update anything quite yet. I want to do star, 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 star. I want to put 5 stars for this particular animal. When I hit update, it blows up. It doesn't know what to do at this particular point. So I'm going to grab the tests for the update. For the put update here. I'm going to go one by one. All right, so we got this particular animal spec. So the first thing that update is supposed to do is it's supposed to edit the record and redirect you back to that show page. Think about it like I go to a website, I want to update my address. When I hit the submit button, I want you to update my address, and I want you to show me that I updated my address. Like, I don't trust you, I just want to see it on the page. So I'm going to given, when, and then given. I'm going to set up this dog right here, set up new parameters. So when I first created this animal, the dog's description was they've got it rough. And then now I'm trying to change the dog to dog with an E at the end, because I think it's that Shiba Inu who, I don't know, is this? Yep, this dog right over here. Much fluff, wow. When I make a put request to /animal/ this particular dog's ID with the new parameters and reload that animal, I expect it to actually, the dog's name to change from dog to dog with an E, and the description to change from this line to this line. And then I expect it to also redirect me to that show page. Write the test, watch it blow up. Watch it blow up. Write the code to make it work. Whenever anybody makes a put request to this particular animal, I find that animal in the database, update their attributes from the name from what it was, and then the description from what it was to what the new one is, and then redirect them back. Run the test, watch it pass. But more importantly, I'll refresh this page. You can kind of see that starfish has a description of star star. I'm going to just make it vulgar and tell them that starfish is just garbage because you shouldn't have a pet starfish. Update, and everything blows up. Why did that not work? Let's go back to the edit page. It's probably because this should read. Let's see. So we have a GET request. We found the animal. We pass it into ERB. And we're actually going to change this to, I think that's right. Let's go back to this this animal, star star, change it to poop and p. Update. If this goes well, it will redirect me to animals/7, and then it went from star star to poop and p.
Thanks.
Nice. Last one is so we are able to create, read, and update. Now the last thing we need to do is just destroy. So let's think of our destroy action. Like if you deleted an account if you deleted your account from XYZ place, one, they need to find your record in the database, they need to delete it, and then they need to redirect you and say like it's been successfully deleted. So we're going to do all of that right over here. We have a bunch of tests. First things first, it deletes the existing animal. Given, when goes inside the curly brackets, and then what do I expect at the end? Create a dog. I make a delete request to this particular URL. And then I expect the animals count to decrease. So it's going to change it by -1. So you delete the existing animal. After that, you redirect them back to the index page. So I've got a dog, I'm deleting it. I expect to redirect to /animals. I think that should do it. That's why this looks terrible. Let's just see if this runs. All right, so this all blows up because we haven't written the code quite yet. So fairly simple. At the very bottom of our, we first need to add this to our controller. So I'm going to add a delete action. Anytime anyone makes a delete request to this particular animal's ID, find it in the database, destroy it, and return them back to animals. But I also need a little button for people to click to actually destroy them. So maybe I will add it to right here underneath edit this animal. Maybe I'll have a little button that says delete this animal. So I believe that to be the show page. And I'm going to just grab this here and actually I'll grab this code and put it in. I got a quick little form. It's going to /animals, /animal ID. It's going to post, but it's actually going to delete. Click this button to delete this animal. Refresh this page. All right, starfish is the worst animal in the world. So I've got to edit, and I'm going to actually click this button to delete this animal. Once I click this button, it fires off a delete request to the animals controller, which will execute all of this, and if all goes well, this will just redirect me to animals. Keep in mind the number 7 up here. Delete this animal. We go back to /animals. If I go back to number 7, it'll say it's no longer inside of the database. Couldn't find an ID with ID number 7 because that one's already been deleted. And that's basically it. CRUD, create, read, update, and destroy.